time once again to go racing.
The pressure is really on now. And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal, go, go, go!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 29. This is the PlayStation F2 tier, and we head to the Temple of Speed for round number 5 in Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. It holds the fastest lap in Formula 1 history. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me once again is Owen Wyatt. How you doing?
Hi Jess, hello viewers, and welcome along to Monza. Yet again, we're following the real-life F1 calendar. And I wonder if McLaren will be looking for a win here as well. It should be a good race. Got a full grid of 20 cars. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, only one reserve tonight, I believe, as well. Monza actually was one of the first tracks in the inaugural F1 calendar that's still here today, 1950, Silverstone being another one as well. And yes, McLaren definitely hit records yesterday by setting the first 1-2 since I think Brazil 2012 as well. And with McLaren not having the start of the season they would have hoped, maybe this can turn around as well. A few changes to the calendar we like to talk about before we get going as well. Portimao is going to be on the calendar, replacing Japan. I kind of am sad about that because Japan I love as a track, but at least we get one of the new tracks on the game for the first season of PSGL on the new game, of course. The other new tracks, Imola and Jeddah, they'll be going on to season 30 because they won't be there by then. But Portimao will be on the calendar, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a good track. I've been racing on it a little bit earlier. It's a very different track. It'll be a unique challenge for these drivers. And as much as we like Japan, you don't get as much racing there. So I think it is a good decision to maybe try a different track, which could get more action. And we'll be looking forward to that one. That'll be round 9, so a few weeks from now. Now, what the drivers have been saying about Monza is that they probably don't want to actually be on pole here. So this could be quite a fascinating qualifying session because basically, Slipstream DRS, we've seen it already, and the ARS as well, makes it really easy to overtake. And it will potentially be a bit like watching the Indy 500 this, where it's going to be passing for the lead every lap. Could be a chance to get a sort of shock result here, and this qualifying session will say a lot about what people are thinking about their preparation. Everyone is on track at the moment apart from Reset, I think, so they're really going to be getting on with it here.
Yes, tyre degradation not too bad as well, with the softs being in use at the moment with only 2 people on the medium, so that might suggest it's going to be a dry race, but you never know. We've seen a lot of unpredictabilities at PSGL where we had some rain come into effect. I haven't seen much rain in Monza on PSGL recently, so who knows, we may get some luck here in F2 because we had some rain-affected races. Not last week, though. Zandvoort was quite interesting. We saw a few different winners there as well. We saw a reserve who's not here tonight, Netsky, take the race victory. And the only other driver on this grid that's here tonight that's won a race is Valtters, who's currently leading the championship. He is on a lap now as he goes through the first Lesmos as well, and he's probably like being in P1. He didn't get a good result, at least he was in the points as well last week, so it didn't really matter if he didn't get on the podium, but he was quite unlucky with the strategy because I do believe there were safety cars as well that changed everything. But 52.9 was his sector 2 right now as he goes through the Ascari chicane. Not many people have been told to look for track limits around this track. There's not many things to watch out for, but a lot of people tend to invalidate around Ascari, so because of how high speed nature it is, 70% of the lap can't be taken at full throttle. So Hadler sets the first time, but Valtters is going to set the next time along with Ash Best, and Valtters sets a 1:19.6, currently in pole position. And another thing, as well as a Poor Mile update. There was a performance patch update as well, so the timings you'll probably see may be a bit slower than what we've seen in the past few weeks and in the other tiers in PSGL this week. So don't expect them to be like they were at the beginning of the week, because it's going to be completely different.
Yes, and it will probably mean the drivers might find themselves adapting a little bit to how the cars have changed. It's not that bad, I don't think, but it might just take a little bit of getting used to. It might be why all the drivers are trying to get there as soon as possible. One, to get used to it. Two, the fact you probably could get 4 qualifying runs done if you're quick enough here. You're saying about track limits around this track. I would agree, it's not actually maybe the biggest thing to worry about. The thing you've got to worry about is, I think, the chicanes and losing it actually and having accidents, or in the case of the De La Roja chicane, flying over it. Both curbs at that De La Roja chicane, the second chicane on the lap, will send your car flying if you hit them at the wrong angle, and it's a bit RNG, and it could catch people out. We might see that on the race. I always remember seeing Louis, ILRT Louis back in the day, and he flew over those curves multiple times and lost the race because of it, and I think it's even worse than that on this game. So that's something that you've got to work out, worry about in qualifying. That might be why we're seeing a few laps. It's those chicanes which really just get you on this track.
No, and the curves, they do come back to bite you, as Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton found out yesterday, spoiler alert, in the race as well. With the curbs on this game, it can come back to bite you and probably go into a much bigger spin than we've seen in real life, of course. Remember Zandvoort, where you can take the lines very, very nicely indeed, but if you take the same lines on the game, it will probably give you damage. So, but at least some of the tracks are realistic anyway, as Louis come out again, but he's on the medium compounder tyres. We've got Kazizel as well, who was leading the championship last week. He's currently sitting behind Valters in second at the moment. And there's one car that just moves out the way. I believe that was either a Haas or an Aston Martin nearby as well. One important thing to note about this track as well is the nice toe you're going to get in certain corners, in particular the Curva Grande into turn 4, Ascari as well, you can get a toe, but slipstreaming is banned at PSGL. You're not meant to be giving slipstreaming to your teammates, so that is one of the tracks we're going to watch out for to see if they don't do that, as Kazizel comes across the line and it's a P4 119.3. We've got an Aston Martin coming across the line, and we've got Valentine, who had a qualifying ban last week, is fastest at the moment, 119.0. Daniel second with a 119.2. Kareem third with a 119.3. And that slots Kazizel into 4th place right now. Let's hope Valentine has much better luck than last week, because no Hasses, I believe, scored points in Zandvoort.
No, and we know what pace that they have. I mean, Valentine, he was on pole, wasn't he, in Paul Ricard earlier in the season, so we know it's there for him. And we just see the Haas can get their points now on the board, obviously bottom of the championship, just like they are in real life. It's either been DNSs or DNS for them. They haven't actually finished a race all season, so they really do need to change that today. Kazizel had set his fastest first sector today, but he's abandoned the lap now. He has had 3 third places this season. He found himself only 4 points off the top of the championship lead. Here in Monza, in front of the Tifosi, I wonder if he could have a chance at maybe stealing that championship lead off Valters. He is currently ahead of him in this session. We'll see what he'll be like towards the end of it.
Yes, as he goes through Parabolica now, and he's going in into the pits. Where's Valters? Valters is still in the pits. Another driver to watch out for as well, who's also going slow, is Cornet as well, who's just missed out on the podium a few occasions in some races. He got pole as well in the opening race in Bahrain, but is yet to win a race. So maybe this could be the race for him where he could shine the most. And in the press, obviously, the Tifosi, obviously the Mercedes are not into the Tifosi, it's the Ferraris, but Cornet could upset the Ferrari party at this stage, but I think the majority of people are going in to the pits. I can't tell how many minutes to go of the session, because there's yellow flags everywhere. 10 minutes to go of the session, and we still got a few people that set quite a few banker laps already. We just got Luca and Baraka yet to set a lap time. Baraka has been having a little bit of hit and miss at the moment in this season, but he's starting to show his form really now. But there's some tracks where he needs to improve on this consistency. This is a track where you need to get consistency right, really, due to the fact that there's not many braking zones around here. And he's got to improve on that. Fabi is about to start his flying lap in the McLaren. I'm just trying to see who's third was on a lap. Haller's on a lap. Benny is going past Ascari now. And the Alfa Romeo is going to get a bit of a tow from Benny, but I think the Alfa Romeo is on and out. Now we also got a Red Bull on a lap, as well as the Alpine and the Aston Martin. Ooh, that was close to an invalidation, my friend Benny, as he comes across the line. It is a 1:19.4 that puts him in P9. Already the field is quite close, and we didn't think it was going to be that close for the performance patch going out, but it seems to me quite a lot of people are getting used to the game already. There was not much difference anyway, but to be honest, it's like the new regulations. You've got to get used to what is thrown at you, as Suko is starting a lap and Louis in the middle of his lap. Well, he's actually going through turn 1 as well. So we'll see more lap times being thrown through as well, and more lower fuel load runs being set as well. So we'll see if a lot more people may get a surprise result tonight like we saw yesterday. So fingers crossed, maybe.
Here comes Hadler, and he's heading around the final corner. He's had a really decent lap so far. This could put him onto the second row of the grid as he does go P4 there for Aston Martin. Fabi as well comes across the line. He's gone second fastest, and then Valters is coming for the final corner. He's only up by a little bit, but you can already see how close those gaps are. Could be challenging his teammate for that 5th place, even could go 4th. But in the end has had a bad final sector, perhaps got a scary wrong. But yeah, Fabi up there in 2nd place, good to see. And let's see if Valentine's actually improving. I know he's not the next one across the line, but he is the current pace setter, and he is indeed going quicker on this 2nd lap. No one's got to even within a 10th of his time yet, and we know, like I say, from France, just how quick he can be. And if he has the consistency in the race, he could be able to take his first finish and first victory of the season as he heads into the final corner. He's got an AlphaTauri in front of him. Shouldn't affect his lap too much as he comes up towards the line. What time is Valentine going to set? It is a 19.0 once again. It's a marginally faster time, but he is ahead of Suko, who is in 2nd place now. So that's a decent time again from Valentine, just showing he is indeed the fastest man out there at the minute. He set 2 times now, that would have been fastest.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't get points in qualifying, you get points in the race as well. So let's hope Valentine does not have any bad luck in the race, because otherwise Haas are going to continue to score no points as well. So we do have a Ferrari, the Tifosi favourite at the moment, finishing off their laps. I believe Daniel is coming across the line. He's hoping to impress at the moment, and that is P6 for him. We got Kazizel as well on a lap going through the Ascari chicane, well, just past Ascari and heading towards the parabolic. He's probably got a tow from the Haas already as well, and hopefully the Tifosi won't be going home crying, but the Ferrari has been scoring well in the constructors, so they may be in luck as Kazizel goes 2nd fastest, actually, beating Suko by pretty much about 6/100ths of a second, so that's pretty good, and the Tifosi will probably be definitely loving that.
Baraka then is only just starting his 1st lap now for Alfa Romeo, so he's really out of sequence. Don't quite know why it took him so long to get a lap start, but we'll see how he gets on. We've got Dessa on a lap. He's heading around the last corner. He might be invalidated, actually, isn't he? I can't quite tell.
Yes, he's invalidated.
Yes. There's been a lot of yellow flags, so the whole track was lit up in many colours, but his red was certainly invalid, so that's a shame for him. Don't see who else is on laps because my phone is no longer letting me scroll. There we go. I think actually might be only Baraka on a lap now. The rest might just be on in lap, so we'll see how he gets on. Baraka, who was able to come home last week, only with 6 points in the bag. He did get a 2nd place in Belgium, and the win is there for him. He will not a million miles away in the championship fight as well. A good result here today could help him with that because we know he's got the pace. He just needs to be able to get the big result on the board as he heads towards the Parabolica. The Alboreto corner now, as everyone loves to keep pointing out to us. I think they're doing it in protest for the corner's name, to be honest, because I think we all know it's the Parabolica as he heads through it now. And we'll see what time he posts on the board. Got a 1 minute 19.0 to beat. He will not be the first one into the 18th, so he will go into 18th place. which isn't the best result, but you can see there, just under half a second between that whole top 18. So even 1/10 find on the next lap will be a huge advantage.
But I'm sure there'll be some people that want to go for the alternate strategy pole position, but at the moment that currently falls under Hadler's shoulders. But for some drivers, qualifying does not matter for them, and pole may not matter as well, because usually in a few Monza races I've commentating, starting P1 may not necessarily mean you take the win. Usually if you start P2 or P3 around here, it's a lot better because you get the toe into turn 1. Usually I found starting P3 is a lot better, but Daniel Ricciardo had a better start than everybody else yesterday, but I was quite surprised about that because he was in the dirty side of the track, whereas if you're starting P3, you're probably going to have the most advantage. A, you're going to get the toe of P1, and B, you want the clean air. So I think P3 may have the advantage, but we'll talk about the start as it continues. And I think we're going to have most people going into the pits now as Baraka goes in as well. So it's going to be a lull at the moment, but we got Valtters and Hadler, the two Aston Martins, on an out lap. Let's hope we don't get a repeat of Monza 2019, please. Let's hope people go in dribs and drabs, because otherwise that would cost people too much time and they won't be able to set their final laps. But there are a few people that want to get their laps done early, and who knows, they may get 1 or 2 laps done if it has wet conditions at the start of the race, which it is feasible, but I think no one is going to be doing that. It's very early for people to do it because it is a 1:19 lap, but I think the out lap's about 1:30 or 1:40 or so, so that will definitely give them 2 laps, or they may just be going for a lap to save some battery and then they'll go for 1 push lap afterwards, or they just want to be cautious maybe to start with, and if they do invalidate on their their first flying lap before the final lap of the session, then at least they get to go again. But then if they're happy with their first lap, then it really much sets the benchmark. So everyone is heating into their tyres now and is about to start with 2 minutes and 34 to go. People have got to get a move on. Valentine, Cazizzel, Benny, we got Luke, Kareem. Well, Kareem's going out, but Luca, Brock, and Baraka, they need to actually get out of the pits now, because at the time he's just going to throw out of them. Maybe 2 minutes is the limit around it, as we've seen Gilbert spin it on his out lap. I think he's got, can't tell if he's got damage or not, but hopefully that's not a sign of things to come for the Williams driver, who hasn't scored many points this season so far, but he's looking to improve on that, down in 14th position, as everyone is either about to start a lap or in the middle of their lap, as Desso is just starting. I'm just seeing who's in there. I think there's an Aston Martin. Yeah, one of the Aston Martins was first, and I believe that is Valtters, the current championship leader.
Yeah, Valtters heading through DRS zone towards Ascari. He was up on his first sector. He's up on his second sector as well. This will be enough to challenge for the top 5 at the moment if he can find any more time though in that last sector. P1 could be there. There's a car in front that might be given a somewhat distant tow. Don't quite know who that is. Could be Gil in Williams, but as Valtters comes on the final corner, he won't get any dirty air off that car. He might well get a bit of a tow, in fact, as Gil heads back to the pits. Valtters goes P8. Next up is his teammate, as Gil retires from the session, so maybe there was damage when he went off. Hadler is up by a 10th at the moment. Can he find any more? Yes, he can. He's gone up into 3rd place. Got an AlphaTauri up next. I believe that might have been, well, might have been Benny, might not, might have been CC Brain actually, who's on a lap. And a few more across the line now. Reese will be next up to start a lap, but plenty of them are just cycling round. A few went out early, few didn't, so it'll be hard to tell really who's at the end of laps and who isn't. I'll do my best to try and find somebody for you though. A lot of people are letting them go because Desso's actually crashed there on the final corner, and that might have well distracted a couple of laps. Might be why we're not seeing that many pop up on the board just yet. I think Daniel is up next. He is in the Ferrari, being cheered on by the Tifosi, and he's now invalidated his lap, has he? No, he's kept it alive.
How?
Even though he's went way off the track, he's been allowed to keep it. Didn't improve though, so nothing gained there. Kareem in the Haas is down at the moment on his lap. Perhaps he had a good Ascari though and might be able to pick some time up. He's got nothing to lose now really as he heads up towards the line. Where's Kareem going to go? He goes P12. Didn't find any major improvement at the end. Valtters is not on a flying lap. Let's try and find out who is. This is going to get very difficult now. Baraka is up next. He's passing CC Brain there, and we know the other Aston Martin isn't going to do another lap. So let's see. Baraka currently down in 18th place. Any real improvement would have helped, but he is invalidated on his lap actually, so we can't find him. Fabi's up next. He's gone up to 4th place. And then we've got Valentine, the pace setter so far. He is invalid. Red Bull up next. Simo has gone P7. And then we have Reese coming up next. At the moment, Valentine's time is holding because this is the one who's got closest to it so far. We yet to see his last effort. I think he might have lost it though. Reese has now beaten it, gone fast. It's not quite into the 18s yet though. They're really struggling to get up there, aren't they? They cannot quite break that barrier. How about anyone else? I think they're all invalidated now, these guys, or in the pits. And so, with that, right at the death, it looks like Reese for Alfa Romeo is taking pole position off Valentine by just 0.029 seconds. How close do you want it to be?
That is Monza for you as well, and I'm sure the Tifosi would be at least happy that there's an Italian team on pole position. They would have probably hoped it's Ferrari, but it is an Italian team pole position for Rizza. Anyway, I believe it's his first pole position of the season. He's usually right down in the championship standings, not scoring many points at all, if any, so this could be his night as well. Could we see any of the top two get their first points of the season and potentially go on to win this thing as well? We're just waiting for Benny to go into the pits, which he does. Lovely. As we'll see what the weather has in store for us when we get into the race. We'll go through the standings first as we have a bit of a moment. There we go. So we've got Rizza in pole, Valentine second, Cazizzo in third, and we got Hadler, Korn, Fabi, Suko, Simo, Benny, and Daniel. They'll be starting on the soft compound, the tyres, and then free choice of tyres belong to CC Brain, Valters, Luca, Kareem, Brock, Gil, Ash Best, Baraka, Dezo, and Louis. The top 19 separated by 9/10 of a second, with Louis the only driver to not be in within a second, but he set his lap time on the medium, so I'm guessing he's not very happy with the handling model. But let's see if he could potentially do a last two challenge today.
Yeah, we'll see who does what. Like I said, with the dry race, you'll see so much from this DRS and ERS usage that we should see plenty of good racing out there. But let's see what conditions we'll get first. It does look a bit dull out there. There could be some rain on the horizon. That will certainly be something worth looking at throughout the race. Wonder what everyone's going to start on, because that starting tyre could well be a good indication of what's going to happen with this weather. For instance, if everyone inside that top 10 is siding with the softs, then that might make you think, okay, rain will happen early. Could, of course, just dry up, though. It could just brighten up throughout the race, but still definitely overcast at the moment.
Yeah, I think the drivers will be relieved that they're not going to see any rain just yet, but I'm sure they would have looked at their dashboards and on their Jeffs and been told what the weather is going to be. But it could change like a drop of a hat due to the fact that the weather setting has been set to approximate in all PSGL tiers. So you never know. It could say it may rain at the end of the race, but it may not do. The game could lie at us and it could be sunny at the end of the race for all we know as well. So we're about to get underway with the formation lap, and we'll see very, very soon what tyres people go on to outside the top 10. And oh, it looks a bit dull at the moment, doesn't it? And we do know in some races like France, as soon as it starts to rain and clouds over, it rains very, very quickly on this game. Don't know why, but there's some other tracks where it takes longer. France, it didn't. It just took no time at all. I wonder we'll see the same again in France, but we got a mixture of strategies outside the top 10. Actually, we got most people on the mediums, apart from Baraka, who has decided to go for the gamble and go for the softs. That strongly suggests Baraka is hoping for a late, early safety car, which is quite common around Monza, I have to say as well, and especially with the new performance patch. It could happen, but everybody else thinks outside the top 10 that there's not going to be a safety car in the opening lap, so they're opting to carry on with the same strategies as they planned as well. But strategy today, either soft to medium to soft. It is that simple. You don't really want to be touching the hards around here unless you have damage.
Yeah, I think they'll be avoiding that, certainly unless there's any accidents. We hope there won't be, but with a 20 car grid, you just never know what they'll do, especially with such a chaotic run towards turn 1, the heaviest braking zone probably of the whole season for first corners. Hopefully they'll get through okay. Baraka will be doing that little bit different on the strategy, so we'll need to keep our eye on him in the early stages. Lots of people on mediums, like I say, they'll be looking to go long, perhaps into some rain, perhaps into some safety car action. We will wait and see as that happens. Certainly a tricky condition for us to see. Of course, they all know the weather, so they'll be doing what they think is necessary. We don't like to get the weather from the drivers because it kind of ruins it for us as viewers and for you as viewers as well. And it means you get a little bit more of that good old surprise when we see some raindrops falling or not falling. But the guys are now starting to line up on the grid. And it should be a decent race from where we're standing. The championship leader finds himself all the way down the grid, just in 12th place. So it's a big chance for Gazizzle, who parks up third, to have a run at this championship lead, like I say, here at Ferrari's home race. Even Cornet is up there as well. He's third in the championship, a little bit further behind, but still ahead of Valtters. So we'll keep our eye on Valtters, we'll keep our eye on Baraka, and we'll see how they all do as we head through these first couple of laps. But as Louis parks up, he will be the last one on his marks. And when these 5 lights get ready to go out, we'll be ready to race here in Monza. So here we go. 5 lights are on. We've got Haas and Alfa Romeo at the front of the grid, and we are away in Monza. Let's see how it gets away well. I think actually the Haas is straight away into the slipstream, so Reese has had a decent run. Will there be any reason to turn 1? Will Valentin risk it on the inside? Lock up from the race leader, puts him wide. He still holds the lead. Bit of contact on the exit. That could have Gazizzle on him, and he's also making contact. Valentin under a lot of pressure in these early stages because right outside goes Hadler as well. He had a little go at the lead, did Haas, of Valentin, but he's going to potentially fall down to 5th place. Can Corner find a way through? Not quite. Gazizzle up in 2nd place. He's held that ground on Hadler. We've lost the other Ferrari though, Daniel. We could see a safety car. It's a virtual safety car, so Valentin, he tried to make the move, won't be able to do so because of the Ferrari, and I think it's his teammate involved as well. That'll be a safety car because it's 2 cars out now. Kareem and Daniel out of the race. And I think Dessa's had a collision as well in there with Luca potentially. Has someone lost a front wing? Simmo's lost a front wing. So that's not gone too well for him either. Hopefully he can get back. Ash Best is stopping or he's slowing. I don't know what exactly is going on there. But these guys behind are holding each other all up at the moment. Luckily it's safety cars, so they're not actually losing anything. I just hope they don't get themselves any silly penalties. But yeah, I didn't see the accidents at the start there, Jess. But we certainly saw Risa holding his ground into turn 1, which is good to see.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened with Daniel, but I think it may have been something similar to what happened to Giovinazzi yesterday. I don't have a clue, but a bit of a shame for one of the Ferrari cars to be out of the race before the end of lap 1. Same with Kareem, who is in there. So again, Ferrari-powered cars, but I did see an Alfa Romeo spinning in the first lap as well, so I wonder who was that. But this gives plenty of opportunities for some of the soft runners to maybe box now, and then we could see some more hards being thrown in the mix, as Gil is on the hard compounded tyres, so is CC Brain. I'm just seeing what else the drivers are going on to. A bit of a mixed bag at the moment, as I think it is mostly hard, apart from... Oh, Gil's on the softs. That is... I was not expecting Gil to go on the softs very quickly, but I guess he wants to hit the ground running when the safety car restarts, so I'm almost certainly everyone needs to pit again anyway, so the safety car is pretty much not helped anyone, unless if you're Baraka. He's played that strategy perfectly, so he's got rid of the softs and he's on used a different compound, so at least he could go on to any tyre compound he wants at the end of the race. So he's now on a typical medium to soft strategy. Same with Luca as well, as the rest of the other drivers are just pitted on the grid as well. But with the ones on the hards, they're going to hope they get to the end, but it's highly unlikely.
So the 2 Red Bulls both had penalties to take, and luckily under the safety car they've been able to clear those penalties, so that's good to see, because safety car penalties never tend to really be very fair, and that's why Dessa was 17 seconds back, because he not only had to stack for his teammate, but that's the same said teammate who also had a penalty to take, which meant Dessa has probably spent the longest time out of anyone in that pit lane by quite a long way, so that might keep the safety car yet another lap, because as you can see, the Mercedes safety cars heading around. Also, we have Aston Martin safety cars around now. I don't know where you'd see those next, but...
Bahrain and Monaco. I think I know 2 of the tracks that the Aston Martin's going to be on, but I don't know which other tracks there are going to be. I'll have to do my research, but shame we're not seeing it in Monza. I can't remember what the next track is, actually. We could see it in Britain next week. in Silverstone. That'll be quite nice, because to be honest, personally, you may not agree with me. I prefer the Aston Martin safety car better because it looks nicer, but I don't know. Everyone in the chat may have your own opinions. Let us know in the chat actually what you think, but it's nice to have a change once in a while. I kind of wish the game puts the Aston Martin in more tracks where it lets you choose, but Cody's is not like that, sadly. But Riz is still able to hold on to his lead, which is very surprising, but in a good way. He's impressed a lot of us and started this Kazizzle's out the race.
Kazizzle has crashed into the back of Risa, and that is not really Risa's fault. He should not be given a penalty for that, right? He was right on the back of the safety car, and Kazizzle has seemingly fallen asleep. That might keep the safety car a lap longer, and that is Kazizzle, the Ferrari favourite, out of the race.
Both Ferraris out.
Valtters obviously now finds himself up in P7, ahead of both of his sort of rivals. Well, apart from Corner. So, oh, we've got Valentine's off as well. Has spun on the grass.
What is going on?
Valtter's up to 6th place now, so he's making himself up the grid. He's the highest medium runner. People around him are making mistakes, and a little bit of rustiness from some of these guys. And that is something we haven't seen too much this season, with these big mistakes on the safety car, no less at the front of the grid. So Hadler now sits 2nd place behind Risa, who now has an unavoidable penalty. Not really very fair on him, to be honest, but that's the game for you. When you get absolutely smashed into, you end up in trouble. So the safety car will end up going in, so he hasn't got much time to prepare for a restart either. But can Hadler challenge Risa around this final corner? Risa, let's say, he doesn't really have much time to prepare for the start. Let's see when he goes. He goes now. Hadler wasn't quite ready for it. Corner could have a chance at Hadler here. CC Brains hit Luca, which is bad news. That's more penalties being dished out under the safety car rules there. But can Corner have a chance on Hadler into turn 1? Thought about it, didn't quite go for the move. What about Valtters? It looked like there's a little bit of contact going on there, possibly with the Mercedes of Brock, who's going around instead of Ash Best. We've got Suko and we've got Louis fighting away. They're heading on towards the Curva Grande, and Risa now has to have his foot down to try and get as far away from the DRS detection from Hadler as possibly can, because that might help him when it comes to taking this penalty if Hadler's going to be under all the DRS pressure in a couple laps time. CC Brains just got ahead of Sim, but like I say, there's penalties for him now. I'm not too sure exactly how all that's going to be working or why those penalties were given out. Probably for the smallest of collisions. We know what these safety cars are like, but it is Risa who leads, but it is also Risa with a penalty that they can't take off him now this year, because he has to make a pit stop and he'll have to take that penalty in there. Unfortunately, he's just going to have to deal with the hand he's been dealt there.
Yeah, we kind of wish the safety car was in for a lap more, because then what he would have done, the best situation would be for him to pit under the safety car, and he would have served his 5-second stop go there, and then he wouldn't have to worry about it during the race as well, and he would have been on fresh tyres as well. But Soko is looking very good on the back of Gil. Gil's had a very good start to the race as well, despite being on the soft compounded tyres, and he's flying with the different compounded tyres to everybody else, as most people who pitted are on the medium compounded tyres. So Gil is going to try and squeeze past Ash Best. Not much space left there, but plenty enough for Gil to warrant the overtake as they make their way towards turn 1 and heading towards turn 2. Nicely does the Williams driver. The Williams driver scored a P9 in real life. I wonder if Gil could replicate that or even better in the race today. And he could be closing up to Brock actually as well. We'll look at the dells between the tyres in a minute to see how much of a gain these soft tyres are actually gaining from between Gil and Brock. He's already about a DRS range from Brock already, so Gil is pushing, but I'm a bit worried about Gil for now. If he's pushing too much this early on, I'm worried his tyres are going to be absolutely dead when it's a few laps earlier when he goes to pit, and he will probably lose the undercut opportunity, potentially the top 5 as well. So he's got to get past these medium runners ASAP really, but I'm sure Brock and Valtters do not want to concede position, so they got a reason to fight as well.
Well, I mean, Gil's pretty much on the leader's strategy, except he just gets a couple laps more grip out of the tyres, so really this is working beautifully for him. As the top 3, there's a pile-up, big pile-up. The top 3 are all out, and they appear to have lost it in the final corner. No safety car yet, which is good news if you're Benny, because he's all over the back of Fabi. Will he have a chance to go for the lead before a potential safety car? No. So Fabi now leads for McLaren. So Cornet, Hadler and Risa appear to have had a collision in the Parabolica. Now, that could be due to Risa losing the back end, and then it's Cornet and Hadler just bang into each other. We didn't see it, so we can't really confirm anything, but that is yet more drama at the front of this race. It's utterly bizarre, this. But Fabi now leads the race for McLaren. Benny second. Valtters, well, he'll have been secretly thrilled to see Cornet in the wall there, because that is someone who could have been taking a lot of points on him in the championship. Same with Kazittel. Two big rivals out of this race. He can make some real gains here today and win from, 12th place he started? Really good for him, this. Gill now up there as well in 5th. He'll be happy enough with this. Baraka from the back. He's in 9th place now. Desso and Simo, I think, have taken more pit stops. This could be to the end of the race. So if they can catch up in time, I don't know if they're still under Delta, but I think the safety car's waiting, so I'm not too sure on the Delta there, but they could jump a couple of people here if they're lucky. But yeah,
That was a weird.
It was so odd because they were all parked on the outside of the corner. They had mostly got through the corner. That's even further on than when Charles Leclerc last year in the real race lost it. There must have been a mistake at the front, and they're just... I've never seen a pile-up there before. It's a really weird one. I guess we'll get the driver's perspectives on this one, as we've lost the Cornet, so he's the host. I'm not sure if hosts are allowed to leave, are they? Because that could cause problems in the lobby. So that's even more problems being caused today.
Yes.
Now, let me just put this into perspective, by the way. The top 5 are the only ones who stayed out because they're on the medium tyres. They're sort of stuck here now. No chance of rain anymore. You can see it's a nice bright sunny day now. The rest of them have all pitted. Now, Benny has put the softs on. Maybe should be better putting the hards on. I'm not too sure, like Ash Best did there. But pretty much everyone except Benny, who pitted, should be able to go to the end of this race. So Fabi is effectively our net leader. And Benny will be challenging him on the softs. Maybe going to do a stop later on. And I'd stay tuned to this one, because we're in for a very interesting second part of this race. Apologies if we sound utterly baffled, but we are. I'm baffled. I've no idea what we've just seen in this first 6 laps. I'm trying to get my head around it, and it's just the most bizarre circumstances.
Hopefully it's not due to the fact that the performance patch may have brought some new bugs to the game. I hope that's not the case, because otherwise we have more bugs to report on this game than normal. But yeah, that was very odd, because we've seen in Imola in real life George Russell a few years ago tied under safety car and binned it then. But we haven't seen anything to this extreme as well. And that includes two championship contenders actually, of Cornet and Kazizzel. Now, a few people in the F2 chat are saying that this lobby is laggy, so that is not good if you want to race. So probably a few people trying to make room, but they couldn't really due to the safety car. So the safety car's going to be there for a lap longer. Yeah, I am still baffled myself, to be honest, with what's going on. I've never seen that in my life, but we'll look at the standings actually on how this may affect it, because it won't be P2 actually it will still be ahead of Cornet, but Fabi would gain a lot if Fabi can make up some positions. He's on the memes, I can get to the end. So Valtters is in first on 37, Kazizzel second on 33. He'll stay on 33, same with Cornet on 24. Fabi and Baraka on 22. We've got Suka on 15, Hadler on 14, Daniel on 13. Then we got Brock, then we got Benny, Gill, Dezo, CC Brain, Louis, and then we've got, I think, Luca, who's reserve, and then we've got Ashbeth, Riza, Kareem, and Valentine. And for Kareem's sake, he's going to hope that Valentine scores some points for Haas, because it could be another pointless race for the Haas team. Where is Valentine actually? He's just in the points actually. No driver's got any penalties in the game as of yet. And I do believe that if there was any stop go penalties, they're all being cleared, which gave them, I think, everybody a chance to get rid of them. So they're all penalty free for now on. But this must be definitely a dream come true for Valtters and Brock. But these two will need to pit in about, I would say, 7 or 8 laps time, because they haven't stopped yet and they've got to make their mandatory stop. I'm trying to see who will be the net race leader. I think it'll either be Luca or Fabi, but the safety car is in this lap.
Yeah, Fabi, the net race leader. Ash Best did make another stop there. He's now no longer on the hards, he's on the mediums, so that means Benny, the only one on soft, he's going to have to do a good job here, really, on this restart. He's got to get Fabi, first of all, and at the very least, he'll probably lead the race for a little bit when the medium runners pit. As Valters puts his foot down, he's away around the final corner. He will not quite catch the safety car, so hopefully the game doesn't put the brakes on for him there, as they all get ready to restart this race. Let's see if they all get through. I don't think there's anyone really close enough to really fight at the minute. I think it's probably one of the cleaner restarts you'll see. Deso is still weaving away actually on that main straight. Is Benny close to making any moves on Fabi? He's not. He's not able to use those soft tyres to his advantage just yet. Ash Best though is on the back of Simo. There's a bit of contact there in the first chicane, but very clean restart, which is good to see. Any side-by-sides on the way towards the Della Rosa chicane? I know Fabi's still closing on, or still being closed on by Benny, but Benny just has to sit back and wait. He's going to be the one making the moves in this race, I think, on the restart.
Yes, and I think we found out what's happened in the final corner during the safety car. I think someone
Luca's
lost
off.
it. Oh, Luca's off. What is going on? There's a lot of people gone off today. I think that's now turned into a puncher or something for him. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
No, he's just got some gravel on his tyres, but he has got Valentine on his inside. Be careful there, because when you're fighting a car with all that dust on the tyres, you could end up in another accident. Luca himself just got to compose himself now after that moment. And yeah, as it turns out, it looks like Risa had some side pod damages. Benny does get through Fabi, so it looks like there was side pod damage on Risa, and that's what caused him to lose it at the Parabolica, which then led to Hadler and Corner collecting him. So that is all as a result, really, of Kazizel crashing under the safety car, because he hit Risa that hard it broke his whole car.
Yeah, that was very, very weird as well with side pod damage. And side pod damage, for those of you that don't know, that are new to the F1 games, this is unrepairable. But we're seeing Benny, who's going to get a nice run on Louis, past the Curva Grande. Don't forget, Benny is on the soft, Louis is on the medium, so that should be an easy move for Benny, with Louis having to do another stop still, whereas Benny, well, technically he has to do a stop as well. So they're both really fighting for position. So we'll see if Benny can close in onto another driver that potentially will have to pit. Baraka as well. So Benny is in a very good position right now as well, but the ones who are in a better position are Fabi, Gil and Suka as well. Now, this is the first race where they are trying out for the car damage rate, they're trying out simulation damage. I don't know why, but they are trying it, but I think the other damage setting is set to standard, so it's not complete simulation, but it's just the car damage rate is set to simulation, which means you get damage quicker, I believe. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. That's not work.
So, which basically punishes drivers that go for naughty moves, basically, and it actually punishes quite a lot of people today. We're already down to 14 drivers, as Benny's taking the fastest lap of the race so far, and he could get past the Alfa Romeo or Baraka into turn 1, which he does nicely. Does it easy overtake there, and he's not that far behind Brock either. He could get the race lead from these two, but he probably won't fight too much because he knows that the top two will need to pit in around about 5 or 6 laps time, I would say, or maybe probably lap 16, 17, I would say, because the softs can last 13 laps around this track, and obviously if you pit now for soft, it's not going to make it to the end, so you're going to have to wait a few more laps. But Benny doing a great job. Let's hope he doesn't push too much, but at least Gil, he was on the softs earlier, he doesn't have to worry about being pushed too much because those mediums will definitely get to the end. He is in a net P2 right now. I did say he was not in the best of seasons. Probably I should talk bad on him more often and he'll get good results. That's probably what I could say for some other drivers at the moment. But for Gil, could be some good championship points. So this was that part of the season last season. I think around about round 5 where he was starting to get good results and he was back in the championship fight again. We could see something similar here today as well because of how close his championship is. Gil is on fire as Benny does get past Brock, but is Brock going to challenge him? He's got the DRS, does Brock, whereas Benny does... Oh, Benny does have DRS on the Valters. Yeah, Benny's going to go for the lead of this race. Is Valters going to challenge him, or is he going to back out? Unfortunately, Benny was not brave enough to go for the overtake, but he could do a Lando Norris type move that he did on Leclerc yesterday on Valters. Then he's going to try. He's going to go for it before he goes to the end of turn 4. So very brave from Benny. But he does have fresher grip and fresher tyres and softer tyres.
Gill's passing Fabi.
Gill's
That's
past Fabi.
Lead. That's the net race lead right there. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's
I'm sure you
fine.
saw, but this is fighting side by side. Benny's got to pull away as quickly as he possibly can. But Fabi, Gill, Suku, Bounty, these guys are all fighting for what's really the actual race lead. So while Benny's making his moves, he's not going to get down the road. Fabi isn't in any DRS here, so he's got to really defend from Gill. I don't think he can. As Gill goes down his inside, he's taking the net lead of the Italian Grand Prix here into Ascari chicane. But now the rules are going to reverse. This is what I said earlier. DRS is so powerful when the guy ahead doesn't have it. And that's what we could see, because Suku's all over Fabi as well. This could be 3 wide in him. We've seen it hit before here in the F2 tier. It happens. Oh, a big hit from Valentin. He's got no front wing now. As he's going to drop out of his leading fight. And it looks like Haas might find themselves with no points yet again. So Gill under huge pressure now from Fabi, and that'll be easily through into the net race lead once again. Is Suko close enough to fight it? Not quite. Ash Best is being overtaken by, or is overtaking Simo. But yes, sorry to interrupt there. There was all that going on.
No worries, there was battles going on for the race lead, the net race lead. We had to follow it, you know, because otherwise there would be 2 less going on, to be honest, as well. But Gill doing a great job. But it's Fabi that was like, you know what, you're not having my position back. I'm having the net race lead, thank you very much. And he's definitely looking the favourite to be winning this race. Could we see a repeat to what we've seen in real life? McLaren wins in Monza. Well, Fabi is looking to repeat that. Ash Best is having a good race so far as well, despite the troubles he's had. Because of the carnage of others, is allowing him to be 1 place shy of the point. He's about 9 tenths behind CC Brain. 2 of them are the F2 admins here in PSGL as well. So it is going to be admin versus admin for CC Brain and Ash Best. I wonder how that's going to turn out, because if it turns out not too good, there may be some interesting words in the F2 chat later on. But there we go. We're halfway into this race now, pretty much, as Benny still leads. No one is pitting yet for softs. Like we said, a few more laps before they decide to go onto some fresh rubber, but they got to do it soon before basically the ones that stay on these mediums crossover point comes in to effect as well. Louis, the only driver to have a penalty of 3 seconds, the track limit penalty, whereas Valentin has got a 5-second penalty, which will be added to the end of the race unless Valentin comes in again. I'm not sure the softs can make it to the end, but it's going to be a bit of a push. He's going to lose the optimum pace around about 10 laps from now, so it's not going to be good. It can make it to the end, but he will lose so much more grip in 10 laps time, so he needs to watch out for that. But it's still doable. There still could be some safety cars, and Gill is not finding the grip to get past Fabi, but Fabi is now catching up to this train at the front with Louis Baraka, Brock and Valters, and Benny as well. So this could be good news for Fabi to actually take the proper race lead, but I don't expect he'll be fighting too much, because pretty much all the guys in front of him will need to make one more stop.
Yeah, they'll need to make that one more stop, but then they'll be properly fast at the end of this race, so that'll be worth looking out for. So really, at this stage, you're Fabi backwards. You do have to sort of save your tyres a bit here, just to make sure you don't completely run out at the end of this race. But yeah, like I say, I do wonder if Baraka is going to make the move there on Brock in towards turn 1. Just needs to be brave on the brakes. They're both being quite brave. Brock decides to back out, and that is Baraka into 3rd place. They can't really afford to fight any more than pretty much that, because like I say, it would be disastrous as Ash Best is sent packing. He don't think he's got any damage, although we don't know about his side pods or anything, but he is recovered. He's 13th place still very much on for points when the other guys pit. He's just going to make sure he can get them, though. He has scored none so far this season, so could do with getting some on the board. As we see, who else is out there then? So we've got Fabi, Gill, Suku. That's looking like it's going to be the top 3 fight. Luca at the moment, he finds himself pretty much out of this one, because he's not only behind the leading pack, he's got the penalty, he'll have to pit, and he might find himself losing out there. That's a shame for him, actually, because we know what pace he can have. But Yes, Benny. He's probably going to be the first on the pit. I wonder when he's going to do that. Will it be soon? Let's see. It could even be as early as the next couple of laps because you don't want to spend too long. He does pit this lap. Like I say, you don't want to spend too long waiting because you know what it means. He can go 12 laps, and that's what he's going to do. So this will give us an idea of where the rest of these guys are going to come out as Brock comes past Baraka once again in towards turn 1. Again, no real point fighting too hard as Benny decides to change to mediums. Yep. And he will be some distance behind. You can see it already. They're all through the first chicane, and he's still in the pit lane. So that's why you pit under safety cars. Suko is all over the back of Gil for what is a net second place in this race. Yellow flags for Valentine. And that might be an accident as well. We could get a safety car. We do get a safety car. Disaster for Benny then, who pitted just as all that was happening. And so he's going to lose out as Valentine makes it pass, still yet to finish a race this season. And Valtters, Brock, Baraka and Louis and Luca all can pit and be on the back of this pack. I wonder how many more will pit as well, because there's a good chance people might think about putting those soft tyres on now. And if you're on the mediums, you're Deso, Simo, Ash Best, you might as well stick the softs on. I mean, you've got nothing else to lose at that point.
Yeah, I think everybody should box for the soft because no matter what, the softs will make it to the end from here with the safety car being at reduced pace. So, you know, even though the safety car's been set to reduce now, we're getting safety cars quite a lot here. So, yeah, maybe they should put it to standard again. But Valtters is boxing, well, to be expected. And the others are going to follow in. Luckily, no double stacking from Mercedes or Aston Martin because their teammates are out the race. Gil stays out. He doesn't go for the soft tyres, but I think Deso stays out as well. What about Ash Best? Ash Best is in. Benny, I'm almost certain he's going to stay out. He just pitted unless he wants to be going onto some softs. I wonder if he has any softs left, actually. I don't... that was a late decision from Benny there to go. I think he realised that soft will be the quicker time. I think he saw other people boxing as well. So, yeah, that's cost a lot of time for Benny, but at least he's on the soft again and he can definitely push. But for Gil and Deso, they're going to have huge pressure on their shoulders because they're going to have around about 11 cars on the soft chasing them down. I mean, the delta is huge. So, I mean, if Gil wins this race, that will be an absolute miracle. But with the safety car happening, that means that Valtters is on definite cards to be winning yet another race. The only driver on this grid to win a race so far, the only other drivers to win a race was Lars, who's obviously now in F1, and Netsky, who is a reserve. So, yeah, looks like no one may stop the party. But, you know, Gil may just hold these drivers up and could take the win. So it's not over for Gil, but, you know, I wonder if Gil and Deso are regretting not pitting right now.
Well, they had nothing. Deso had nothing to lose because he would have been outside the points anyway. At least at this rate, he might still finish in the points. Maybe not right at the front, but he's got 7 points. Gil's got 8 points this season. So realistically, they're both taking a risk. If it pays off, then they get some really useful points. And if it doesn't pay off, well, they were going to be back down there anyway. They might as well try something different. Because Gil would have had to stack, as would Deso. So they would have been at the back. So it's fair enough to try this. And they kind of were left with no choice, in fairness. And yeah, we'll see how long they can hold on. I imagine this will be the last lap of safety car. We could get yet another safety car as well. There's plenty of time for another safety car to come out as well. So they have somewhat of a chance of getting a result here. We'll just hope that they aren't the safety car because it could be easy to trip over them. But it gives us an intriguing end to this race. And Valtters is on for what could be yet another victory this season. He is currently having made up 9 positions. Probably could make those 2 more up as well. But we'll wait and see. Nothing's guaranteed. Baraka, I keep saying it, he's waiting for that win now. He's worked his way up to 2nd position. Or was 2nd position. He's now 4th. Let's see if he can go up for that P1 today. It's still there for him. Especially if Valtters struggles to make the overtakes on Deso and Gil.
Yeah, and I think Baraka is the only hope for Tifosi at the moment because it's the only Italian car that a Ferrari powered still in this race, to be honest. And he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders for that. Did Louis just get past Suka on the safety car? He did, so he moves out of the way for Suka because otherwise it would be an illegal overtake there as well, but I'm guessing they were trying the limits. What is going on with this safety car at the moment in the midfield? That is quite crazy at the moment. I think the safety car will be in this lap, which it is, so Gil will be leading the field away. Now, that is crucial now that Gil needs to pull away, because otherwise Valters and Baraka will get them like a hawk. Deso needs to get a good restart as well, so he's got to really respond to what Gil is doing at the moment, so we'll find out very soon. And it's crucial also that you warm up your tyres efficiently as well. But we are about to get underway for, I think, 9 laps of racing here at Monza, as they're about to approach the Alboreto curve, also known as the Parabolica. Don't know what you want to call it, but anyway, Gil gets underway. Oh no, they're leaving it early. They're leaving it too late at the moment. Deso thought that Gil was going to go.
He's on. I think that's. Oh, is it legal?
Is it legal?
Well, Deso's past him. Not anymore. Valters will have a real chance. So Deso went way too early. I thought it was weird. He went straight past. So Valters, he's got to make this move stick on Deso, or else Baraka will be past him. As we head towards turn 1, Valters locks up, so does Deso. They both make the corner. Baraka wasn't very aggressive there. He's not going to go for it on the exit as Valters challenges for the race lead. Again, has to get this one done quickly. Baraka is ahead of Deso, but only just. Will Gil be able to defend from Valters in towards his El Roches again? I think he's going to have to defend, and indeed, Valters decides actually not to go for the move. Deso cannot defend from Baraka, so his slight over-eagerness on the restart's costing him, as through now goes Brock as well. There's a car off in the background. I think it's Louis. He might have hit the wall with that. Yep. Let's have a quick check. Yeah, he's out of the race. Look out for a safety car on that one. Although his name hasn't grayed out, but I promised you he's out. I don't know why it's not saying so, but his rail's flying off into Narnia, so he's definitely out of this one. So we'll ignore him for now. Hopefully he doesn't drive away, because that can happen on this game. I just don't think it's not registered. It's registered it now. Look out for a safety car. He does just about get away with it, does Gil, because Valters was passing him. And we have yet another safety car. So there we go. That helps Gil. That gives him, what, 2 more laps of just chilled out safety car action. Will he decide to pit for some fresh tyres? No. Deso might. Yes, he will, because he'd already lost a few positions. Just pit now. So he's in. And yeah, that was bizarre how long that took for Louis' retired car to register, as Luca and CC were in pit as well. I think Luca, he has a speeding penalty perhaps? No, it's a front wing actually.
Yeah, so, it is a front wing.
He's having that sort of, it must have been him then that had contact with Louis to send him round perhaps. But yeah, it's weird that, because we saw that Louis' car was out, it was damaged beyond repair, and it took nearly until Valters had taken lead off Gil for it to register. So in the one hand, Valters think, well, that was unlucky, but it was very, very close to getting away with what really should never have been a chance to take the lead. And I don't know how many safety car slots we've taken up now in this race, because VSCs and safety cars might take up 1 each, because the VSC turned into a safety car, but I'm not too sure. Either way, I think we've got time for at least 1 more safety car if this one is coming in soon enough. If we have another lap 1 restart crash, you know, then you could get it again. I'm not sure people will want to see this simulation damage return for the next race, because really all this chaos has been started mainly because, I mean, lap 1 was fair enough, I guess, but the safety car incident was nothing to do with Risa, and it caused him to have the accident, which took the rest down. It's led to all this situation. I think there'll probably be a few people campaigning for this to be dropped after this race, to be honest with you.
I think I'll be one of those people that probably wants it to not happen, to be honest.
Not
at
a
least
race anymore, is it?
Yeah, especially around Monza. They may try it in another track where its damage is not as prevalent, maybe Silverstone, but they can't run simulation damage in Monza ever again. They just can't. It's just like they can't keep it on a straight line, and they introduce so many bugs and stuff like that as well. But at least we're getting a race underway soon, but everyone has caught up to the safety car, so we'll be in this lap as well. But the simulation damage model has caused a lot of drivers to be out. Some of them not their own fault, like with Hadler and Corner. That is not their fault at all. Some of them, they got punished for doing something, obviously, that was what they shouldn't do. But there was a few drivers that definitely shouldn't have retired from this race and lost some huge championship points for it as well. But we'll see how it is in Silverstone. If they have similar issues in Silverstone, then they will reconsider about the damage model at least. But they might have again got to turn the safety car on to reduce, because this is the third one, or it might just be that the amount of damage they got does cause the safety car. We don't know, but it is Gil that leads once again, but this time Gil can't muck up this safety car restart now when the safety car comes in, because Valtters knows what Gil did in the last one, and he doesn't want to repeat, I'm almost certain. So I think it's going to be a no-brainer for Valtters to possibly take the win, but we'll see. There's not many laps to go this race, actually, so if Gil can hold on for the next 6 laps or so, then the race win could be his. He still could be on for some points. There's only 2 drivers that won't score points out of the top 10, and the safety car, like I predicted, is in this lap.
So Gil then, I don't think he actually did much wrong on that last safety car restart. I think it's more that Deso just got a bit over ambitious with trying to get past, but he's not there this time. Valtters will still be wary of Baraka, because now Baraka, if he gets a chance, I'm sure he's going to try and take it now. He has to. He's got a chance of his first victory of the season here. So we'll see how he gets on. But Gil, well, he survived up to this point. Only half a green flag lap, of course, since all these soft pit stops. He'll hope really for another safety car, actually, if he can get away with it. Let's see when he goes, though. He's away now. And Baraka was not ready for that. Valtters wasn't exactly either, but he will have a good chance to pass Gil later on. Baraka might struggle a bit more to make his pass, and his is the more important one, let's be honest. As we head towards turn 1, Suko is trying to get by Fabi. I think he will get through as well into 5th place. Deso and Benny going for it side by side. There's a lot of contact there. All 4 of these guys at the back are all over the show. Will they be able to get through without any major damage? It's easier said than done with the simulation damage, isn't it? But they're all going for it up to the De La Rocha chicane. Those guys at the front are seemingly okay. Benny's up into 9th place, and Luca and CC Brim will just sit behind Deso, who failed his attempt to get through. Bowser's being slowed down by Gil through the Lesmos. But I think this will be it now for Valtters. It should easily get through here, unless Gil seriously defends hard into the Ascari chicane. But he's got no real reason to. These tires are only going to get worse as this race goes on, so we'd better just let him go. So Valtters retakes the lead then of the Italian Grand Prix. Surely now Baraka has to get a move on and pass Gil. If there's any hope of him getting DRS zone for the start of lap 24, he's got to get by Gil now. He's using his overtake in towards the final corner, but there's no way through. He's going to try and get effectively a double toe, but I don't think Gil's going to get any sort of toe here. And if anything, Brock's going to be one looking for that massive toe down that main straight. Let's see Baraka is. He's going to try and go side by side with Gil towards turn 1, who defends. And actually, look at that. Valtters is giving Gil the toe, giving as much as he possibly can. And well, it's worked out quite well for both him and the Williams driver, as Baraka fails to get past. Good teamwork there.
That is good teamwork, and they're not in the same team, but I don't think it's going to last for Gil, as Valtters is pulling away quite nicely, which is not helping Gil at all. Baraka is looking to try and attack going into turn 4, but wow, that was good defensive work from Gil, but Baraka could get the switch back here as Gil goes a bit wide. Yeah, it was inevitable for Baraka to get the move. He's up into 2nd place, but he's lost a chunk of time to Valtters, so taking the race win for him is going to be a lot harder than we see fit. Now Brock's on the back of this now. Brock could get a podium, which will be very impressive for him. Don't forget, he started this season as reserve driver, and he's been full-time for quite some time. He's actually attended all races this season, and he's doing a remarkable job, getting some great results this season and performing very, very well. Who knows, if he continues to impress, he'll be in F1 next season for season 30, but we'll see if Brock gets a little bit of a turret going into the Ascari straight and into the Alboreto curve. And I think Gil is probably going to lose, another position is going to lose a podium as well. So if I were Gil, maybe going on the softs, maybe for a cheeky fastest lap, but DRS is enabled then. Not at this straight though, as we're past the detection point. And Baraka's out of DRS range to Valtters, but well back Brock on Gil. Gil tries to hold on and get into turn 1. Brock's not going to do it on this occasion, but turn 4 is going to be the prime move that Brock's going to do, and maybe into turn 5 as well, where we saw the likes of Baraka go for the move on Gil. So Gil knows what these guys can do, and Gil is a talented driver. He was a season 26 F1 champion, so he knows what he's made of course, but the SIS have changed since then. And Gil has lost a bit of speed going into the Lesmo, so that should be hello P3 to Brock, and he could be on the podium, which he is right now. So Brock, your top three as it stands: Valton P1, Baraka P2, Brock P3, and Gil is think going to lose P4 to Suku now, as he's got a beautiful run heading to the start of Ascari. As again, I think Gil tries to cover him off once again, because there's not much space left right here. The race seems to open up at the moment with so many battles happening. I wish it kind of happened early on in the race, but better late than never. Suku shows that the soft tyres are the better tyre, and he gets past Gil. I don't think those tyres are going to last for Gil, really. 16 laps. I'm sure it lasts a little bit less than that, but we will see. And Fabi could get the light of Gil as well. Yellow flag. That is Luca that's gone into the pits and had a bit of a spin, and he's got a 5-second penalty, so I won't be surprised if he retires. Yes, he does.
Gil then defends into turn 1 from Fabi. Looks like Baraka is not going to be able to close into the DRS zone of Valter, so he's only got 3 more laps to go to claim another victory this season and really open up what will be quite a big championship lead, I'd imagine. But Gil, I think it's still probably the right decision to stay out. I don't know, I don't think he would have been able to make as many overtakes because he was having to stack with his teammate, and he would have been at the back. He would have been 13th. And at least now he still sits in with a chance of finishing P5, because he's in DRS now of Suko, who's in DRS of Brock, and they aren't going to sort of lose that DRS. So as long as Gil can just hold on. There's a lot of DRS on this track. He might just be okay, especially as Suko and Brock start scrapping. He will be able to sit behind, and he'll only have 2 more laps to keep this up. And you know, if I was Gil, I would have stayed out as well, to be honest. You can't just accept falling to the back. No racer would.
No.
And so I think this is the right thing for him at the minute. Even if he does lose out towards the end, I don't think he'll be complaining too much. But as we head on to the penultimate lap then, there will be some fighting, because Suko is pulling through, and it's Shizu on Shizu, and it's Suko easily actually getting through Brock in the end, side by side with Gil and Fabi now. Fabi, who of course was fighting with Gil earlier for what at the time was the net race lead before all these safety cars started coming out, and now they're fighting for P5 on track. Fabi failed in the first chicane to get through. Gil, this time into the Della Rosa chicane, is he going to be able to hang it around the outside? He keeps seeing having people switch him back through here. This time, no, he can't really do the same move because he just hasn't quite got the grip. Balls down into P6. Simu's all over the back of him now for P7, and Suko is straight away into the DRS zone of Baraka. He's got marginally more ERS as well to use. Let's see if he can make this one work as he heads in towards the final lap. A podium, 2nd place, would be very impressive for him. And Gil, still in the DRS of Fabi, doesn't lose out to Simo just yet in the Red Bull. Simo, who I don't think has any points yet this season.
Nope.
Certainly looking to be getting plenty now as he heads alongside Gil. And he should get through into the final corner. And indeed he does. A little bit more of an acute angle. Gil could have some sort of switchback here as he starts the final lap. Suko all over the back of Brock, or off the back of Baraka. Brock is following. Fastest lap for Suko, that's good. As Simo closes in on the back of Fabi, not quite close enough to make an overtake just yet. CC Brain gets ahead of Benny, but he does have a penalty. As does Ash Best, so those two might fall down to 10th and 11th in the end, the penalty-ridden drivers. But Simo still really pushing. He's got a decent chunk of ERS as well. I think once he heads down towards Ascari, he might have quite an easy move on Fabi in the end, because Fabi doesn't have any DRS, and Simo could be on for a P5 today. I don't think he would have been expecting this one coming in. Valters is still holding his 1.3 second lead, and so that's looking all good for him. Suko, while having set the fastest lap, hasn't got any ERS to fight Baraka, so Baraka should probably keep P2. Brock again, not enough ERS to fight, so he might end up staying where he is. And Simo, with all his extra ERS, is pulling on the outside. He's pulling past Fabi, so really good ERS management there from the Red Bull driver to get himself up into P5 at the end of this race. As we see Deso now trying to get by Ash Best. Doesn't need to fight this one too hard because of the penalty. But we'll cut to the front of the grid now and see Valters come around the final corner. He would never have expected this from 12th on the grid, but Valters wins in Monza. Baraka 2nd, Suko 3rd on the fastest lap, Brock in 4th, Simo 5th place, well done to him. Fabi and then Gil, and we'll confirm the rest when we see it.
And you probably think that Valtters had an easy win there. He definitely did not after starting pretty much lower down the grid as well. And sometimes it shows at Monza, you don't really need a good qualifying to score well, like we said as well. And it showed that Valtters avoided the carnage and pulled off some great strategies. And that's effectively won him the race today by playing the strategy right all the time there as well. And he also has an Alfa Romeo Baraka and an Alpine, I believe. Yeah, an Alpine joining on the podium with him as well. So, you know, I do believe they've all been on the podium before this season. So it's not unfamiliar territory at the moment. But we have Valtters. That's just crazy at the moment. We didn't think that the people would change positions that much. Baraka from 18th to P2.
Mad.
Brock from P15 to P4. Gil from 16th to 7th. Desso from 19th to 8th. It just shows you, starting near the back around Monza, not too bad at all. Maybe I might try that whenever we visit Monza in another league. I don't know. But anyway, let's go through your results. We've got Valtters, Baraka, Suko, Brock, Simo, Fabi, Gil, Desso, Benny, and CC Brainey, your final point scorer. Ash Best just misses out, but he is the final finisher. And your retirements. Bear with me, guys. There was quite a lot of them. We got Luca, Louis, Valentine, Cornet, Hadler, Riza, Kazizel, Kareem, and Daniel. And again, Haas do not score any points, making it a 100% DNF rate, which is not where you want to be. But Valtters leads the championship by quite some margin. It's going to take some beating, but let's hope the other drivers challenge them when we head to Silverstone next week.
I feel it might be a bit early to say, but I feel that's probably a defining moment in the championship. Just the fact that all the main rivals just had a bad day. I mean, Fabi, I know he was all right in the end, but it could have been a win for him as well if the strategy was, better. At least Baraka scored some points, but even then, Valtters won the race. Disaster if you wanted to see a good championship fight here, because Valtters has just absolutely loved every second of that, I'm sure. And it will take so much for him to get beaten now. We've seen it. 3 wins this season now. I can't see anyone beating him, but we've got such a long way to go this season. So who knows? Who knows?
We've seen Lamborghini take quite a few wins in succession, and he was leading the championship, and then he's had a few off races last season, and that's what helped everybody else get in the fight. And there's still quite a long way to go as well, so there could be time for the other rivals like Cornet, maybe Rissa to get his first few points of the season as well. Hadler as well to be back in this as well. Valentine, we've seen him put his car near pole position, but again did not quite do justice, sadly. Louis just missing out as well, but let's hope we have a much cleaner race next week with hardly any bugs. Please have less bugs. That would be lovely. I'm just seeing if any of the drivers want to come in and talk to us. I doubt that after that race, I don't think, which is fair enough. But I'm sure Valtters may want to speak to us. We'll give it a moment. But Silverstone should be a fun one this week. But it's known for the weather conditions. But it is such a... I hate driving it, but I definitely love watching and commentating on it.
Yeah, it's a decent track for racing, I think, in general on the F1 games. Hopefully we will have a good contest there. If they're trying the simulation damage again, I think, in fairness, we got a bit unlucky with it today because
it's Monza.
It's more who knew that Kazizel would have a fly land on him and distract him to the point where he crashes into the race leader under safety car, just enough that it gives enough floor damage to cause the said race leader to spin in the final corner, which then causes a free car pilot. Really bad luck today. So I think, as bad as it looked today, they'll probably give it another try and see. I wouldn't blame the track for it as such. It's more just general bad luck of how that all panned out. So we'll give it another try. But if it doesn't go well in Silverstone next week, then I'm sure there'll probably be changes made to it.
And I think we'll see what the other tiers are like as well tonight and going into this week as well in Silverstone as well. So maybe with the performance patch, and that probably might make a little bit of a difference. And I don't think anyone wants to speak to us at the moment, so we're going to wrap it there. So like we said, Silverstone next week. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got F1 currently in the middle of their qualifying. So if you want to watch some F1 around the Temple of Speed at Monza, you could do so. And I believe, I think it's F5 and F6 on as well. So check those out. And then we got the PC tiers on Wednesday and Thursday, with the lower PlayStation tiers on Thursday as well. Middle assist tiers on Sunday. And then we've also got ourselves and F1 on Mondays as well, starting at 7 o'clock. So thank you, Owen, for joining us as per usual. And we had myself, Jess Bohr, in the commentary box as well. We will see you next week, same time, same place at 7 p.m. UK time. Hopefully for less retirements than tonight around Silverstone. It should be a cracker. Have a good evening, everybody, and goodbye.